Hey, Rafael Hoffman again. So what I noticed about spiral dynamic stage choral is that they don't take very many things seriously. So they love role play. That's like the topic of this thing. So like we know that in stage turquoise, you don't actually believe in reality anymore. You kind of say everything's made up and it's all like in our heads and it's silly and like we take everything so seriously and like I just want people to understand that it's not serious. But this kind of like triples and doubles in choral because not only is it not serious, but then you start getting bothered that people are serious. Like you start wanting to do the action that's involved in the masculine phase for the fact that it's not serious. So what people will often do is they'll become comedians or they'll like make fun of people and like Alan Watts used to make fun of everyone because it's annoying, but they're not going to change. So you make fun of them, and it's really really enjoyable for the choral. The choral loves to condescend, not in like I mean later on we're going to say that's not really mature, but in the meantime it's actually really fun and it's very funny, and I think it's going to help you grow into choral because you won't take your stage as seriously. And you'll relax into it and you'll relax out of it. Meaning it won't be like a burden to you. Oh, no one understands me. It'll be like people are dumb, but it's hilarious, and you could become a very successful comedian as a choral. I mean, you can make a career out of it. This is not to say that every single comedian who is also spiritual is in stage choral, but I wouldn't be surprised if a choral would become a comedian or if his humor was enhanced once getting into choral. So that's something that I will add. Now, the reason why role play is very fun and role play goes into a comedy is because there is no character. We already know that in stage turquoise that there is no character. It's just some guy who pretends to be someone, and I'm not me. I'm like everything. But then in choral, it's okay. I'm not me. I'm everything. It's annoying that people don't really get this, but that's okay. I live my own world, and that's fine. Um, so there is no one, but now we want to do something with it. Okay, I can be anything I want. So I've discussed in the past that what choral ends up happening is that they develop what might be diagnosed with DID, also ADHD. That's a separate thing. But the ADHD might be because of the DID. So that's something I'm trying to figure out as I go along this journey. I think the reason why DID is noticed is because you're not afraid to be anyone. And we're always made up of many parts, right? So if you look at Teal Swan, she talks about parts work. What is that all about? The fact that you have different preferences and you're now not afraid to accept it. As choral, you're not afraid to accept it. You're not afraid to be a different person every 20 minutes or every hour or every week. Because you're okay with that. Now this phenomenon leads to acting out different roles. Okay, so there's this whole DID phenomenon that I discussed, and I don't want to bring it up because it's a separate topic. But now we're getting into choral appreciates the humor in things, and as a result, they also don't mind being someone else. And this could play into the phenomenon of DID as coming out in choral because it's everyone who has DID, and now the choral is allowing himself to finally manifest the multidimensional nature of his own essence, body, mind, heart, etc. So the reason why he appreciates role play is because it's an opportunity to be someone else, which is something that's begging within the heart. In the past, I've spoken to people that said that you should do acting. People should do acting, especially me. I had a teacher who said it would be really good for me, and the reason why he was picking up on this, and the reason why people notice this, that it's really healthy and it's really exhilarating to be someone else, is because being yourself is a burden. Because you have to sustain an image. You have to sustain something that you're not. We're no one. You are no one. That's just a fact. You're an image that you project and say, I have to be something like that, or what people associate. So you're forcing yourself to be something. When you act out, you can finally be someone else. Take a break from yourself. Not be consistent. And that's a biological need because everyone's body has that need. So in choral, you have the biological need. You are funny as anything. because you allow yourself to be anyone, and it becomes enjoyable to you because you're not afraid to act out as anyone. You're not afraid to enjoy and to prolong these role plays. It's not very organized unless the choral person allows his or herself to be organized. And this is, I think this covers most of it, that in summation, the choral person wants to act out, and as a result, comedy becomes his existence. And in addition, not just comedy, but role play becomes an appreciation. And that role play mixed in with the comedy makes him appear really funny sometimes. So if you want to work on your humor, advance your consciousness to stage choral. The reason why turquoise are not very funny is because they didn't have the time to realize just how humorous existence is. They didn't have the time to make fun of existence, which is themselves. So this lingo of you are existence, how are you applying this to spiral dynamics? This is some new age stuff. No, so the answer is that verifiably you don't exist. This is scientific fact. If you look at the neurons, there is no one. Your neurons are creating a sense of I, and that I is sustained by a different interdependence of neurological impulses that say you have to have this section and this belief system and this part of you survive and so on, which somehow forms this I-centered experience, which we know as the ego. So that's not there, but it's an illusion. So who are you? So you're that, right? Because you're everything. Because you're nothing, and therefore everything. You're that, and then you're the external, and you're also your soul, and you're also different dimensions, and you're also different perspectives above and below, and within and without, and so on. So turquoise is just acclimating to this new experience, but they don't really do anything with it. They're just absorbing it. They're just understanding it. But practical application of all this, when you can apply it practically, that's how you know that you're entering into choral's understanding of stuff. So the epiphany I kind of had is that the unhealthy choral is a person who does not yet have a community to talk about this, and the healthy one is a person who does. Or it's not that he has or doesn't have a community. He doesn't have a sense of acclamation. Elsewhere, I've explained that choral is the acclamation process doesn't exist in choral because your choral is a short phase. So how do we resolve this contradiction? In one place, I say that choral is quick because you acclimate by understanding that, accepting that this is your new experience. And now I'm saying that no, it's not just this is your new experience. This could be the phase that you're in, the phase of you could be a healthy choral. So the way I see it is that the more accepting you are of your situation, you slowly transition. It doesn't happen in one day. That was an exaggeration. Rather, every single day, you're inching your way more into teal. And parts of you will keep inching up, and you'll fluctuate, but more or less you're moving forward. In terms of people not wanting to talk about stage choral and the experiences therein, that's primarily because they're afraid of society. Because society says you should not be having psychic experiences. That's bullshit, right? That's stuff that doesn't exist. But that's the materialist paradigm that's based around orange and green, usually. If you have mystical experiences, stage blue might accept it sometimes, but they'll say it's like sorcery or shadow magic or shadow knowledge, things that's going to impose on our belief system, so we can't even discuss it unless it's like in isolation, away from our community. So, but really, they don't want to affect the community and the barriers and break them down. So they enter at the higher phases of development. We don't want that. But they don't know that it's a higher phase to break apart the barriers. So in Coral, some people say don't talk about it. Don't talk about magic. And don't talk about the fact that your mind creates reality. That there's an interdependence of belief systems and understandings and metaphysical. Because you'll have to, really they're saying this because you have to compete with the ego, the collective ego, which is primarily attached to the materialist world of Orange. And if not, the community structures of Blue, that doesn't want sorcery or anything foreign to intervene on their, doesn't want any new age stuff to intervene on their belief systems. And primarily, Red is not relevant so much, a little bit. Depends where you live. And then Green is still materialistic and they're open-minded to it, but it's not something they're ready to hear. So nothing happens with this knowledge really, unless they're searching. Yeah, I've found Greens that are searching for more knowledge. So you could come across them who are open-minded, but it's not going to happen naturally. They're going to have to want to be growing in the process. So that sums up most of it. But people say you shouldn't talk about this because of all those paradigms. I say no, talk about it. You have to talk about it because the stage Coral is making these videos, or if not making these videos, having a friend to debate what Coral is, or having a friend to say these psychic experiences are stage Coral, while these psychic experiences are aubergine. And that's like a whole video itself. How do you compare? Because I'm the only one talking about psychic experience in relation to spiral dynamics, because this territory is SDI. And my theory is that SDI was created because psychic abilities was too tangent from the mainstream understanding of the ever progressing model of psychological evolution. So it was branching way too far. So they had to make something separate. That's my theory. But I say you have to talk about it in order to acclimate to the phase, in order to get out of the phase. And that it could be talking to a friend, videos, could be writing in a journal, compartmentalize ideas, and compare and try to understand the differences between psychic abilities. Now, I don't fully understand yet what psychic experiences happen in stage Teal. Those who follow me know that I do have psychic experiences, and I'm open about it. I do not fear people. If YouTube wants to shut me down for being heretical, I hope not. I do have psychic experiences. Unfortunately, people have to hide it. I think that's really wrong. That society, Stage Orange, forces them into hiding. But psychic experiences means that you'll see images of the future, and you'll see images of a potential future. I mean, sometimes the future can change, but if you see it like it's night and day, you know, like I see the future, then you see the future. That's fine. You know? Okay, so and the question is, what's the difference between a Coral experience of seeing the future and an aubergine experience? I don't fully know yet, and right now the analysis is that stage aubergine will be communicating with spirits, like so the yogis who are able to communicate with all types of entities. I'm starting to believe that's a stage aubergine experience, right? So they've activated aubergine. People want to say, "Oh, that's turquoise," and they're just really good at being turquoise. No, I don't think so. I think if they can access it, my estimation is that's Teal. Teal is living in both worlds, but if they're forced into it, meaning they're always affected empathically, I think that's aubergine. Coral also is affected empathically, but they're adjusting to the new phase of development. And so when they get psychic experiences or whatever, it's more sporadic. It's they don't know what to make of it as much. Maybe they don't care as much because it's not their priority. They just want to enjoy life. They just want to enjoy this new stage of serenity, of chaos, of chaotic serenity. That's what I think that's the best way to put stage choral, chaotic serenity. And I even want to write that down if I had a pen, but I'm going to write that down, chaotic serenity. I can't use the same words in certain places, so I try to make it so that people can't cross-reference me too easily, because I have to have some level of barrier. It helps me out when I'm able to have many accounts and people, because then people have to work a little harder, and so it sifts out a lot of trolls. But yeah, that's crucial. Because this whole video was about humor. So am I joking right now? That's a big question. So people should know that I'm always both serious and joking at the same time. I think that's one of the characteristics of stage choral, which I'm probably going to title of this. Choral is always seriously joking. That's how I want to do it. He's seriously joking and he's chaotically serene. And therefore, I just have to say that anyone listening to this, just recognize that he's neither serious nor not serious. He's detached from the outcome. Because if it happens, good. If it doesn't, it doesn't. In that sense, it's one of the best phases. Like, anything that happens is kind of good, and I enjoy the pain. I enjoy the emotions that come up. That enjoyment didn't exist in Yellow. Yeah, I said I have to be on top. I have to be the Messiah. I have to be king. I have to be this. I have to be that. In Choral, you are the king. You have psychic abilities. You just believe or feel or know that life is good. So nothing can really bring you down, even when it brings you down. You see. But in stage Aubergine, I think this immaturity kind of gets resolved. You start to see the seriousness of life. We have to make sure that people know about psychic abilities. So the urgency starts to develop. The urgency developed in Curl to get things moving, but it wasn't organized. So it gets null. It's like, I want people to grow. That's why I'm making this video. That has a Choral tendency. But he doesn't care to. He's not that attached to it. It's like a passive growth. It's a passive desire. But in Aubergine, the stage is I want people to grow. I want society to move up. It's a ring around of stage Orange. I agree with that. So they're going to be more methodical, and they're going to be more concerned and serious on how to do that. And Teal, I would say, wasn't as concerned because it was a feminine accepting phase, which usually adopts a more passive approach. And the reason why Choral's passive is because they retain some of the femininity of Turquoise. So they're passively aggressive, or they're passively chaotic, or chaotically serene. Have a good day.